What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Iron Obsession Podcast. I'm your host, Anson, and today I have a very special guest, my coach and host of the One More Rep podcast, Joseph Pircher. How you doing, man?
I'm doing really well, man. Thank you for bringing me on. This is cool. It's cool because I've been watching yours now. You know, I feel like it's probably on the flip side where you feel like you watched a lot of mine.
Yeah, like I was just watching one before this
that you put out.
Yeah. I was actually just watching your one with Scott Mize because I was watching his video with Danny LaMartina that just came out. He does a great job as well.
He's a real deal podcast host, so don't get it twisted. When I go on his, I've gone on his show, and I'm like, oh, this is how podcasters really do it. Because he's got, I don't know if you've checked out his channel or anything, but he's got like a big time, real deal following. Like, not like the small time stuff you and I are doing.
I remember I was listening to that episode, and he was talking about how it related back to like the carnivore diet and stuff, like going way back. It's awesome to see someone like completely 180 themselves, and I think, and in a lot of aspects, you've done that yourself as well. Like you've transformed and evolved a lot over the past couple of years, both as a bodybuilder and as a coach. And I think that's kind of one of the first things I wanted to get into is like, what has your evolution kind of looked like from beginning back in 2011, I believe you said, to now in 2025, almost 2026?
Yeah, I did 3 years of bodybuilding. So my start in the gym was with the idea that I want to look like a bodybuilder. And when I do something, man, especially I was fired up about this, I am all in on it. I'm not going to tiptoe and half-ass, and to me, that's just wasting time. 100%. So I'm like, how do I get the most out of my efforts right away? So my first day with a gym membership, I had a written out training plan, like which sets were marked to failure. I had a diet. I had it all. So I trained natural for 3 years. I competed for the first time in 2014 and did my first cycle as the prep cycle. Not how I would recommend doing it.
I'm sure it's much better than what I did. So
not how I would recommend doing it. But you know, when I started bodybuilding, the internet was a lot different than what it is now. There wasn't tons of people that I would deem trustworthy that were putting out information for free. It was all very. It felt like it was like gate kept, right? Like if you wanted information from Matt Porter or Skip Hill or somebody, you had to pay him. You
Membership
had to pay
website.
him for information.
Yeah.
Well, or that, or you just had to hire them for coaching.
That too. Yeah.
And otherwise, you were doing it yourself. And there was forums, but I mostly just used the forums to find sources. It wasn't really. I didn't trust anyone on the forum because it's all anonymous. So it's like this guy could be a fat dork behind his screen, and he's telling me how to eat to be a bodybuilder. Like, I'm not listening to this.
And even if they did have profile pictures, it's probably like blurry.
It was never them.
Nokia phone.
It wasn't them even.
Yeah, true.
If nothing, you know.
Yeah.
Because we're all talking about drugs, so nobody wants to put anything distinguishable on there if you got a tattoo or whatever the case is, right?
Especially back when you were getting started, the stigma was way stronger.
It was totally different, dude. It was totally different. So that first probably 3 or 5 years of enhanced bodybuilding for me, I was totally winging it and trying to take what I thought was the reasonable information online and just applying it to myself, seeing what works. And that was the same with diet. It was the same with training. And then I reached a point where, you know, when I would prep for a show, I would hire a coach because I'm like, I can't do this. I prepped myself for my first show and it was a disaster. So I'm like, I didn't enjoy this. I didn't enjoy doing this. It took the fun out of it, out of being an athlete for me. So I'm like, let me just hand this over to somebody. But then the show would end and then I would just go right back to doing my own thing, which looking back, I realized how much time, money, and effort was wasted. I probably should be way further in my bodybuilding in terms of like the development of my physique, but also I don't think I'd be anywhere near as close to where I am with knowledge and experience if I had just handed it over to somebody else.
100%.
So long periods of trial and error for me, a lot of error. And then eventually I was like, okay, I need a coach year round. And for me, that coach was John Jewett. And so I worked with John for the better part of 5 years. That eventually led to me being the first coach that he hired as the J3U business. And so I was with him for a while. And so that, for a good chunk of time, really dictated my philosophies and my beliefs. I don't want to say dictated like he was dictating it, but I just put everything into
it's
what
like
this man
a
had
set
to
of
say.
guide rails for you to kind of base everything around, but have independent thoughts.
It was gospel. Anything that he's put out was gospel. And so I just did a lot of parroting of the stuff that he said and did, right? Which was not a bad thing. I think there's a lot of incredible information and values that I took from him. And I owe a great deal to John. But I also then started to reach a point where I started to think for myself a little bit and, again, experiment more so with myself. And so I got to a point where I was like, I don't want to always just be known as John's guy. I want to have my own coaching business. I want people to associate a brand with me and my name and the way that I do things and not just be an employee, basically, right?
Yeah.
So that was 2023. I left J3U and I've been, growing the coaching business on my own ever since. And there's been, you had asked about like the evolution of things. It's funny how it almost comes full circle, because I find that a lot of the things now that I rely heavily on in terms of, general philosophies, there's individual situations and outliers in every aspect. But a lot of my overarching themes that I come back to now at this point are very similar to the things that people were talking about online in 2012, where in that middle portion, it was like, safer use and minimize the amount of testosterone you're going to take and use all these DHT drugs and all this different stuff. And there was a lot of good that came from that. I've really learned the health side of bodybuilding and how I could be healthy while aggressively pursuing bodybuilding. I owe a large chunk of my understanding of that side of bodybuilding to John. And I think that for as much time as I probably wasted doing my own thing early on, I think he gave me a lot of time back by keeping me healthy and teaching me how to be healthy while I was on cycle. But in terms of cycle design, I'm more likely to write up a cycle for myself, a client, and the goal is to get as big as possible in the off season. And it's going to look like somebody wrote it in 2012 for the most part.
Because it's like almost, I don't want to say the opposite per se, but, kind of that safer use model is, let's say, like 200 mgs a test and then just as much mass strong as you can tolerate. I feel like you kind of almost do the inverse of that, whereas it's kind of like as much test as we can do without getting crazy side effects. And then we kind of fill up the rest of our milligrams with the DHT or EQ or 19-NOR if you can handle it.
That's exactly it. That's exactly what I've seen. And I hear that repeated by all the biggest guys. And, that sounds like bro science, but also, man, competitive bodybuilding is one of the longest ongoing human clinical trials that we have. And it's the only one with this demographic of people that I am trying to look like.
Yeah.
So I would be a fool to disregard what has happened in real life. Like, what do the big guys, I say it all the time. If you want to be big, a large part of what you need to do is what the big guys have always done.
Yeah. Yeah. And it makes sense because, like, where else are you going to get data from? The skinny kids preaching 6 reps maxes for all their stuff. It's like,
Stop.
Yeah, it's like I hear the same things repeated as well. I remember the other day I was listening to an episode of I don't remember which particular podcast it was, but it was an episode that had Compton in it. I think it was one of Beatty's shows, and I hear Compton talk about one of his favorite off-season cycles being a gram of test and like 600 EQ. And then this is like 2 weeks ago, so I look, I'm like, oh shit, that's exactly what I'm doing.
And that's something I wrote for you months ago.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's not like I just took that. It's not that it's cookie cutter. It's just a general philosophy, and the numbers happen to line up.
It's what works. Yeah, it makes sense because he actually might have said like 1250 test or something like that. But so it wasn't 1-to-1. But I was like, success leaves clues. I mean, he's doing this. Yeah. I've heard other guys say similar things. You hear like a gram of test to a gram and a half of test, and you hear typically one anabolic, maybe two, depending on the person, and then growth really being the key. And that's something for me, which has been, I don't know if I want to say like life changing per se, but like growth hormone,
it's game changing.
It's game changing.
When you have everything for those of us that have all the other variables locked up, and they've been locked up for a long time, there isn't anything that you're really going to do then that makes a big marginal difference, because we're just stacking the one brick every day for years and years and years. But then it does seem like when you get to a point and you are that person that has just laid that one single consistent brick every single day, and then all of a sudden the final piece of the puzzle is what I would call bodybuilding doses of GH, and it's good product, you've had it tested, or your source has had it tested, whatever the case is, that is all of a sudden now it becomes a brick and a half or 2 bricks every day.
Absolutely.
It really is the one thing that I have found in real life that does change the game. It's not going to make me look like, I'm never going to look like Samson, but it's the one thing that maybe is going to close the gap a little bit.
For sure. And it's crazy. Like even just changing 2 IUs, like we just upped me from 8 to 10, and I've noticed a difference just since Saturday. And I don't know if that's maybe like the MPP kicking in alongside that as well, but man, today, like I felt a switch in the gym. It was like, I had kind of like an iffy workout last week on arms and shoulders. Every other workout was fine. It was just that one. But so far, 3 days in a row, I feel amazing. And I was having those recovery issues back in the cruise where we went down to that 4-day split. Before that, I would get to my 3rd day of training and I'd feel pretty beat. I'm on my I'm on my 3rd day of training right now, and I would not do it, but I know if I went into the gym tomorrow, I could have a good workout if I needed to. It's a great feeling.
A big part of it is, though, being proactive about your recovery. I think it's a hard line to try to convey on a podcast or in a video where, sometimes I almost feel like I'm contradicting myself, but it's like you are speaking to different groups of people. Like someone like you, for example, that has every variable locked in. You live for competitive bodybuilding, and everything centers around you being able to recover from your training. And you train hard. I've seen it now. Like we've dialed it in. We've dialed it in both in terms of accuracy and intensity. So it's all coming together, right? For you, these people are better served by being somewhat proactive about their recovery as opposed to reactive. If you don't train that hard, I'm not going to just tell you to train 4 days a week, or we're not going to schedule every 6 week as a deload or something like that, because you don't train hard enough. Like when by week 13 you feel like shit a little bit, okay, then I'll tell you to take a couple days off or we'll adjust things. But for that guy that is just consistently hammering it and lives for bodybuilding, I have found as I've gotten older, the more proactive approach is the better one. And it's not something extreme. Like I talked about the deload thing. I lived that. I tried that whole cycle of training, right? Like where it's, I'm not going to say the brand, but like periodization where it's a guaranteed thing. Like, I'm going to kind of increase intensity and volume as the weeks go on, and then preset number, week number 5 is a deload. I gave that style of training a fair shake. I did that for probably 2 straight years.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, how am I going to speak on this if I don't know for sure? Like you can't do something for 8 weeks and then say it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And I grew. I grew initially. I think everything works until it doesn't, right? And so then I reached the point that it doesn't. And so now I see you need to be maybe a little bit more proactive with the guys that really train hard, but it doesn't need to be a full week, right? Like in your case, we took it from, okay, we're always training 5 days a week. And then you looked up all of a sudden, and it's like, oh man, I kind of feel like I'm drowning. Like I feel like have felt like shit for 8 weeks and I didn't realize it.
Yep.
So then we go to 4 days a week because the gear had been pulled down, food had been pulled down a little bit. The recovery is not as full throttle, right? And then it's like, okay, now that we're pushing things back up, where is the balance? Especially for you, we have an obvious priority body part that we want to hit twice a week with your legs, right? So then it's like, well, where is the balance? Because I don't want to just train these once a week as a consistent thing. And then also, I don't know if I can week after week train them twice a week. I don't know if that recovery is going to be there. So that's where I'm talking about. It's just a slight ability to proactively program your recovery. And then now you feel like $1 million. So it's, I would say it worked out.
Absolutely. And the not just sticking to the 4 or the 5, but what we're doing right now where we're kind of rotating back and forth between 4 and 5 has been really cool. And it's kind of opened up my mind to the possibilities of, what you can do with a split, right? Because I've always been someone where I have 7 days in a split. That's it. Anything else would freak me out. Like the prospect of doing 2 on, 1 off, and not having the same rest day. Oh God, freaks me out.
I'm with you. That makes my skin crawl. I need to know. I need to know I need to know Wednesday. I'm going to get a massage. It's my rest day. That's the day I'm going to go drop off clothes that my clients ordered or whatever the case. Like I need those days to be set.
And bodybuilding is always the number one priority, right? But I mean, we have to plan the rest of our lives around it. And
you're a human. You're living life. There's other stuff to do. You got to go grocery shopping. You got to go to the chiropractor. You got to go get a haircut if you still have hair. Like, whatever the case is. Hey, not us, but some guys do.
Nah, man. I saw a 45-year-old man walking to my gym today with a full fat head of hair, and it kind of pissed me off a little bit. I'm not going to lie.
I just admire it. I've reached a point that the disappointment or jealousy phase has long passed for me. And I just look at it like almost like if you were to see like a beautiful regal lion in the jungle, right? Like out in the wild, where you would just be like, look at that shit. Look at that shit. Yeah. So now when I see especially an older guy with a slick back, big full head of hair, I'm like, look at this motherfucker.
Yep. Yeah, and I know the guy too, so I always mess with him about it, but like not a speck of gray in his hair either. It's crazy.
God bless him.
Yeah, meanwhile, mine's been receding since like 18. I've had
I just talked about it today. I was losing my hair at 22.
Yeah. And like you said on that episode, like if you're gonna lose it, you're gonna lose it. So it just comes down to how important is this to you,
Right. To me, I couldn't give a fuck. I'll trade my head of hair to look like a bodybuilder. Like,
absolutely.
Day one, dude. If day one me saw me now, not that I'm anything outrageous at this point, but just to see how far I've come and that I do walk around and have some presence about me, man, 18-year-old me would have been like, take the hair, dude. That's awesome. I'm stoked about this.
Yeah, I feel the same way. And it's like these past, I think we started working together back in early August. I think that's almost 5 months or something right now. These past 3-4 months or so, like once we've really got into things, this is like the first time in my life I can say like I'm starting to actually kind of like my look. I'm starting to feel like a bodybuilder for the first time in my life. And it's cool. 16-year-old me, like you're saying, would be very proud. And that's always fun.
It's awesome I'm glad that you have come to that at such a young age, because this goes so fast, man. It goes so fast. And I say this all the time. Our physiques are rented. You don't own it.
Absolutely.
You get to lease it for a short amount of time. And then at some point it's going to be gone and it's not going to look anything like it. So you know what? Yeah. Do I want my arms to be bigger? Do I think that my side delts could be a little bit rounder? Absolutely. But you know what? Every now and again, you got to be able to like sniff the roses and be like, you know what, this is pretty damn cool that Absolutely. I am walking around and I look the part, Yeah.
It's a great feeling to kind of have the, I guess, sculpture in your head of what you want your physique to look like.
Well, it's starting to look that way.
Yeah, starting to come to life. Yeah. like different decisions in training and prioritization and exercise selection. Once you've actually like established like that base, you can start to see those things make a difference. Whereas, when you're just getting started out, I have these kids in my gym that are, 16, 18, 20, and they're trying to do all these little specific exercises for the outer portion of their tricep. I'm like, bro, you have 15-inch arms, man. And I
have no tricep.
I had 12-inch arms when I started. Like, I get it, but we can't really use a scalpel when we need to be using a sledgehammer. So.
Perfect way to say it. It's a strange thing as someone that's a little bit older, and I personally get a lot of entertainment from just observing society from a distance, right? Yeah. Especially what young men look like now. Yep. Just not even like physically what they look like, just in terms of how they act and what's acceptable and what's promoted and, what do girls find attractive? So why, is that driving the behavior of these young men?
Yeah.
And to me, it's just so different than, to me, when that was me, we were, not that it was any better, but we were going in and killing ourselves with barbells. We were. Yep. I did not know what a single arm. I didn't do anything single arm or single leg until I was fucking 7 years into training. Yeah. And now these guys are the opposite, where it's like this. They're going in with this fine brush and trying to paint this little picture, and it's like, man, just throw the whole can at the wall. You need to just slap it on there.
Absolutely. And I've actually got a little bit of a unique perspective on this because I think legit like a week or two before I started working with you, I had just stopped teaching high school weightlifting at my old high school.
Oh, no kidding. Oh, shit. So you see it right up at, yeah.
Yeah. And
your age, you're kind of in the middle. You're either your age group, it's like you are either the last of a dying breed or you're like the leader of the charge of that group,
Yeah. Yeah. And I saw it honestly kind of perplexed me because at that same high school, I think I graduated in 19 and I was teaching this year, so 2025. Just the level which strength in general has gone down is kind of absurd. I don't know if we had like a special class when I was there, but my last 2 years of high school were the first 2 years we had a football team. So I did that for a bit.
Oh, right on.
And that got a lot of us into weightlifting. I was someone who I'd been into weightlifting since about 15, so I got a bit of a head start on that. But we had a lot of people get in the weight room because of football, and we had multiple 300-pound bench pressers. Multiple 500-pound squatters at a small private school.
Yeah.
And now there was no kids in the class that were benching more than 225 before I got there.
I believe it. I would say the young men do look as though they're just the thing is, I think that skinny is something that society as a whole has learned to value because you think those kids grew up in like the fattest era of America. So then now they want to go in the opposite direction and they would rather be 130 pounds with abs than, kind of a fluffy 210, but strong as an ox. Yeah. That's not valued by young men or young women. So, a lot of the times what the girls want is driving the behavior of the men.
Absolutely.
But on the flip side, not to just badmouth that whole generation, I have a lot of hope for them.
Yeah.
I think it's fucking awesome that it's a given that 85% of the demographic of boys that are 15 to 20 are in the gym. It was a bizarre thing when I was like spending every 3 hours a day of every day in the gym. My friends, my parents, people were concerned. They were like, what are you doing in there?
I wonder like if you had the same experience as me, because I got started weightlifting in around 2015, but like really 2016. I got made fun of relentlessly for working out when I was in high school. Like it was not popular.
It was after high school for me. It was after high school for me. And I wouldn't say that I got made fun of, at least not to my face.
Yeah.
However, I just lost touch with a lot of people because everyone, I think I made it part of my identity that I was the party guy. I was the drug guy. Like if you wanted drugs, I had them. So then that was a reason for people to be social with me, whatever. And then when that wasn't the case at all, and I went complete 180 where I won't even go eat wings and pizza
Yep.
at the sports bar on Sunday anymore. So it was just an isolation thing. Like I felt completely isolated and alone. But at the time, I kind of reveled in that. I enjoyed that. That's what I wanted. I wanted to be away from these people that always knew me and put me in this one particular box, because I'm like, that's not me. I'm growing out of that. So you know what? If I need to do this whole period on my own and grow this new version of me, I'll do it.
Yeah, and I've kind of been straight edge my whole life, so it's kind of the opposite thing. Like
No kidding.
I think I can name on. I've probably drank 4 times in my life.
No kidding. Good for you. Hey,
and one time,
shame in that.
Yeah, one time was a bender, and that's how I found out I have a really high tolerance. And then that kind of led to, I'm gonna have to drop a couple $100 to really get fucked up. So this ain't worth it.
Yeah, no, smart man. No, that's a couple kids at GH. So it's like, man,
damn straight.
The GH makes it feel much better than that fucking bottle of vodka, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, and it's crazy what people will waste money on and then say they can't afford this or that, right? I'm sure you have a million stories of that.
Oh man, crazy stuff. Yeah, it's just a matter of priority, It
really is.
It's a matter of priority, and then the self-awareness to realize what you are prioritizing.
Yeah,
people don't realize it. People will tell you this X, Y, and Z is a priority to me.
Yes,
and it's like, but
Show
man,
me.
you just told me that you can't afford coaching or you can't afford the things that I put on this meal plan, but you got the new Jordan 11s, you cop the latest, drop of this clothes, you pull up in a leased Mercedes to the gym that I know you can't afford. Like, what's going on here?
Yeah, it's just crazy. Like, I don't know. People, I would rather people show me than tell me what their priorities are. And, with running the gym, I get a lot of guest passes this time of year, and we only charge $10 for a guest pass, which we should probably charge more. But I'll have people complain about that. And my story for that is always this. Look, I did my first contest prep on my honeymoon and my wedding. So for our honeymoon, yeah, I know, crazy decision, right? White fish, rice, and green beans on my wedding night. But regardless, so we go to Florida for our honeymoon. We go to Santa Rosa. It's like a 12-hour drive or something like that. There were no gyms around us whatsoever except for one. And I think I had to spend about $300 for the time I was there to get access. And I did it. I didn't even think about it.
Yeah.
Because it's what it took. I didn't have to tell everybody how much bodybuilding prep meant to me. I'm showing.
They saw it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it perplexes me when people, their mouth does one thing but their actions do another. I've never understood that. If I'm anything, I'll be passionate. I'm gonna do what I say.
Yeah, it's a good trait.
Yeah, I think so. It's a dying trait too, unfortunately.
Yeah,
that's one of the things.
That makes it more prominent and more valuable. Yeah. Because it's rare.
Yeah, that was another thing I saw with the newer generation. Working with them in a weight room, it seems like a lot of people don't have passion in their lives.
They're
anymore.
Flaky.
Yeah, they'll do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. They'll skip workouts, skip meals, not take advice. They'll ask you the same question over and over again because they want a different answer, right? But you give them the answer they need.
They want to hear you say that what they're doing is okay,
right? Which makes no sense.
They want you to sign off on it eventually,
Yeah.
But again, same notion. Like not to shit on all the young kids. For anybody that that might be listening to this or just in general, there's never going to be an easier generation to stand out from.
Exactly. And there's one kid that I can think of. I don't know if he'll watch this, but he might. Named Jackson, who I was. I don't want to say I gave him favoritism or whatever, but he showed me that he wanted this. Like he wanted to be strong. He wanted to gain some size, shred up a bit. So I helped him. I think we took him from, it had to be a sub 300-pound bench. I think by the end, we either got him to 365 or 375 for a 1 rep.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's strong as shit.
And I'm of the opinion where I honestly don't even like making these kids do a 1 rep, but that was just something we had to do for football because they wanted percentage-based training. So. Yeah,
shout out to him. Shout out to Jackson.
Yes, they're the kids that are on it nowadays. I think are well and above beyond like what we could do back in 2016 or 2011, and even further back. The resources they have are second to none.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I know. I say it all the time. And again, it's not that I'm anything special, but if my podcast or YouTube channel, just mine, existed when I started for day one in the gym and I just listened to it for free every day, I would have been so much further. And that's literally the entire idea. I was on a different podcast coincidentally last night, and it was cool. It was cool. It was not exactly in my wheelhouse, like in terms of like that crowd. But at one point, one of the guys was like, "So what's the message? What's the channel all about?" And I was like, "Dude, there is no ulterior motive. I am trying to, from day one, my overarching thought for putting out information is that what I am telling you right now would have helped 22-year-old me, and that's it."
Yeah, I know for sure it would have helped me. Like, especially just even just the stuff on the diet alone would have been life changing for me. Like,
I know,
man, I think we have kind of similar like levels of wanting to eat our face off in a younger age. You know, I would down whole jars of peanut butter thinking that was a bodybuilding thing. Like,
that's gonna make me big. Yeah.
Like, I remember I was looking back at some old progress pictures I had. I was just fat as shit. I got on TRT at like 1920. I'm like, man, I'm taking 200 mg a test every other week. I'm gonna blow up. So I'm eating a bunch of bananas, peanut butter, oatmeal, whey protein.
That's it.
That's
the mass gainer, you know.
Yeah, cut to me sitting at like 260 pounds, like 40, 45, 50% body fat, like gut awful.
Hey, you almost gotta go down the wrong way to know it's the wrong way.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah, and
I got that.
crazy.
I got the Dreamer's Bulk story too, man. I was a fat, sweaty, high blood pressure pig at one point, you know.
I'm assuming my blood pressure was not good, but back then I definitely was not responsible enough to check it at 19.
Oh, I wasn't checking it. I can just look back and see what my face looks like, and that's the face of high blood pressure. That shit was Burger King and Anadrol every day, you know. That shit was high blood pressure. There's no two ways about it.
Yeah, I think you're kind of in a similar boat. Like, thankfully, I'm pretty side effect resistant. Like, I've done some stupid shit, especially around that like 19, 20-year-old mark when I was first getting into things. And I must have a pretty strong liver. Like, Anadrol were like candy back then.
Well, it's incredible because you never were into any other recreational stuff. So it's like, it truly is that you saved it for your one vice. Your one vice is PEDs.
And that's how I was looking at it.
You know, I honestly think that you can get away with one vice, and whether you choose to make it drinking, whether you choose to make it recreational drugs, or whether that's PEDs, you know, this sounds like rationalization, or I think the kids say cope, but I would argue that PEDs are probably the healthiest version of any of those vices, because think about all of the other things that go along with being like a hardcore PED user. I wake up every morning and I do cardio. Every single calorie and macro that I put into my mouth is tracked. I'm taking all these prophylactic medications to make sure that I'm healthy ahead of time. I take a boatload of health supplements. Like, if I was just a regular person that was in their 30s and drank beer during the week to watch football, and then Sunday I ate a pizza and drank a bottle of vodka, my health would be in the dump compared to what I would describe as abusive levels of PEDs. And I'm still much healthier than the average person.
Yeah, I mean, especially the average person. The average person might not even be a good representation of like what normal is anymore, right? Because I don't think it's normal to be this level of obese.
No, it's not normal. It's common, but it's not normal.
Yeah. And I don't think there's any other vice where we actively seek out to mitigate damage. I can't think of one.
Or improvement.
Exactly. Yeah. Because your health can definitely get better while doing PEDs. Like, for example, the last blood work that we got for me is, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that blood work was better than the blood work before I started contest prep. And I was on shit for every bit of 40 weeks, you know, contest prep into rebound. And
then rebound,
blood work was better than ever. And a lot of that has to do with some of the new things in the market, like, you know, retatrutide, SLU, stuff like that. But
for sure,
just, you know, eating healthy, not eating like an asshole on the weekends when you're done with contest prep. I think that was big for my blood work also.
Well, you're so strict with your diet all the time, and that's the number one thing, man. I think, because, you know, as someone that's, dedicated to competitive bodybuilding and using an appropriate amount of PEDs, we are not going to go binge drink on the weekends. We're not going to go use recreational drugs. We will go and eat like a complete asshole. Like that is in the cards for bodybuilders. And that's where you see guys then, because now we're talking about two vices.
Yeah.
And that's where you can wreck your health alongside the PEDs.
And health aside, it's terrible for your progress. Like if somebody doesn't care about their health,
it'll ruin your off season.
Yeah,
I've done it many times.
Yeah, it's like if somebody is only going to be talked off the ledge from doing it, just for progress sake, that should be enough. Because I can tell you, last off season, I would eat every bit. Like I can throw down with food. I'm sure I wasn't tracking them. I'm sure my off-plan meals back then, and I had 2 a week programmed in. I was probably hitting up 5,000-6,000 calories in a sitting in sushi. Like I could easily get 84, 86 pieces at an all-you-can-eat place. And what would happen is the day after, I'm having to do 2 hours on the stairs. Like what the hell? I got to go backwards, and it's just unproductive.
Right. You know what? It's an obvious thing, but to put a number to it, I did my post-show rebound, and then I did a cruise. I did a cruise for 8 weeks, where I think I did maybe 2 or 3 off-plan meals, right? And then I scheduled our vacation with my fiance, Kelsey. We went away. It was the long weekend of Thanksgiving, so like Thursday to Sunday. We went out to eat, Saturday night. And this is after walking 15 or 20,000 steps the whole weekend.
Oh, nice.
We went out to eat Saturday night, and it wasn't crazy, dude. I can eat. And it was just, I ate like a regular person that went out to dinner on vacation, right? I had an entree. We probably had an appetizer and some bread. I had an entree, and then I had a dessert. That was maybe at 7:00. Didn't have another calorie after that. Went home hydrated, showered, slept 10 hours. I had put a glucose monitor on before bed because I'm like, when I wake up in the morning, I want to see what this is. I woke up, hydrated, went for a walk. Blood sugar was 176.
What?
And this is like, I'm covered in veins and my lower abs are tight. Lines in my glutes. And that's what it did to me.
After a walk, too, is crazy.
Right. Wow. So then imagine what that is like when you have, as a bodybuilder, you have that off-plan meal every week. That's a no holds barred, like shit fest. And I'm speaking completely from experience. I have been the guy that 41 meals for the week, I'm to the gram, dude. I will not eat 281 grams of rice in a meal. It's 280. But then Saturday night comes and I get my one off-plan meal. And like you said, it might be 4,000 to 6,000 calories. And then you don't even think about it. You think that, hey, I'm nailing it. This is part of my balance, whatever. Now you put numbers to it and you see like, man, yes, of course, that is going to shorten the runway that you have for the off season. It might take you 3 or 4 days to get a blood sugar reading fasted back in a normal range. And when I say normal, I just mean for a normal fat American, not optimal for bodybuilding and putting on muscle tissue.
Yeah, and people will obsess over it, and I've fell into that trap too, but it's absolutely a valuable metric. Like people who never check their blood sugar at all, I've never understood that. Like I want to check it at least once a week to see where I am, right?
Yeah, see where you're at. Yeah.
It's super valuable information. It can tell you if your body's clearing things well or not. And some people their diets are way too all over the place to not have some sort of metric like that to go off of.
Well, then for those people, it does just become a random drop in the bucket, right? But when you're super consistent and you understand the context in which you are taking it, it can be super valuable and it can be enlightening to see, hey, you know what? I'm 2 hours post chicken and rice, no added fats. I did a 10-minute walk immediately after. I hydrated when I got back from the walk. 2 hours later, I'm 86. This is the process.
Yeah.
This is the process I need to follow.
And I'm sure for people self-coaching, it can be super valuable just because of that alone. They
Even
can
if
find
you're
out
not, even if you can pass, I package it all up, and
Yeah.
I'm not, dude. I coach all these
Yeah.
guys, and I don't, and I go about my own as if I'm running the ship, like collecting all this data and all this stuff. But I still package it all up and send it off to Compton, and then it's like, man, it's probably almost too much for what he's used to, but he takes it all, and we're able to make more accurate decisions. Like he puts as much into it as I do. So the fact that I'm putting all of this into it during the week to track all this shit and send it to him, he goes above and beyond for me then because of it. You know what I mean? He can tell how all in I am on this, you know?
Yeah. And I think that actually kind of goes a little bit into one of the questions that I had a member at the gym ask was basically, let's see here. Basically, they're asking, how do you decide who to go with as a coach in this market? Because it's such a saturated market. And I think that having a coach that is as about this as you are is number one. That's got to be first and foremost. Like, your levels of passion need to be aligned. And, you know, working with you, that's been the biggest thing for me, is just we're both on that same wavelength of being passionate about the sport. And as someone who is willing to put in the same amount of effort as you are, it's a major key to the whole process.
For sure. It can be very difficult. Like you said, and this is nothing against you, I almost hate when people do say that it is saturated, because I do still feel like the people that are doing the right thing and that are in it for the right reasons are going to rise to the top.
Absolutely.
But yes, if you are naive and not in the know, and then you just open Instagram and say, I'm looking for an online coach, good luck. Goodness gracious.
Everybody.
So it is difficult. On the flip side of it, because there is so much information and there are so many people toting this information, honestly, this is a little bit of like a counterculture perspective, but there are tons of really good online coaches. There are tons of people that can do a good job with this. So how do I know how to hire the right coach? It just comes down to who is a good fit for you. There are so many people that have good information, a good level of experience. So then what do you value? Do you value someone that is, for lack of a better term, and I don't mean this in a derogatory way, but are you looking for someone that is going to give you a lot of affirmations? And are you an athlete that really feeds off of positive feedback from a coach? On the flip side, are you someone that is intrinsically driven to where you can work with a coach that's more stern and short with their responses, and the desire to impress them is something that drives you? These are just considerations. For me, it has always been that I need someone right off the bat as like a minimum criteria. I need someone that has walked the walk at a very high level. And when I say high level, I don't mean that I needed you to be Mr. Olympia, but I needed you to have a high degree of commitment. It doesn't matter what the final product looked like to me.
Yeah.
I just need to know that for a good chunk of time, you threw everything at it, because that's what I'm doing. So I need to know that you know what that feels like. And on the flip side, I need to know that you know when you have someone like that, that's pretty much like a thoroughbred of a client.
Yeah.
How do you get the most out of this person then? Like, what are the strings that you can pull knowing that you have this thoroughbred? Like, how do you make it run faster than ever imaginable? Like, what are those extra fine little things that you can do? Because I am outworking and out adhering every single other client that you have. What are the fine little pieces that you can add to my game? Yeah. So I needed to know that. So for me, it was always somebody that walked the walk to a high degree of commitment. And then I wanted to, all other things aside, a lot of times it just boiled down to someone that I felt like I desperately wanted to impress.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
so a lot of times it was just like, you know, I have worked with some of the best in the industry. Like, I've worked with Chris Tuttle, John Jewett, Justin Compton, just to name a few.
Yeah.
And it's like every single one of those guys brought something out in me that every single week, every single time that I checked in, it was done with the excitement and the commitment and the thought that, man, I'm going to send this off to him and I'm throwing my hat in the running to be his best fucking client. Yeah. He is going to be stoked to open this check-in.
Yeah, man. That everything you just said is exactly how I look at it. And, another thing too, you mentioned about having worked with a lot of the best coaches in the industry. I actually think that is one of, you have a lot of really good traits in your coaching, like you said, the passion and stuff like that. But I think it's really cool to work with someone who has worked with all these different people, and you can kind of see everything that they've learned coalesce into this programming and their whole ideology and process, how it gets influenced by all the little things, but then they turn it into their own. It's really cool to see that.
It's a big cauldron of information from all these guys that really know what the fuck they're doing and have really lived it at a high level. I mean, I mentioned, the big three in terms of who has been most influential to me are Chris, John, and Justin Compton. But then you can add in, I worked with Phil Viz. Yep. I worked with Justin Harris. These are some of the brightest and outside the box thinking minds in the industry. And without a doubt, one other aspect of this is every single one of those guys that I just named has a resume, has besides what they've done with themselves. I can pull up either their page or, wherever it is that they put this information or put these visuals, and they have guy after guy after guy that first picture is very average looking. And God damn it, that peak photo of the most muscular of his stage showing is gnarly as fuck. Holy shit, that guy looks crazy. So that is another big part of it. And again, it was never that, he's got guys that are winning the Olympia. I was more so worried with the low level average looking guys, because that's me. What is he going to be able to do with a guy like me? I don't need to see what Keon looks like, or these guys, right?
I think Stevie Wonder could coach those guys to Olympia.
That's what I'm talking about, dude. I don't need to see how you peaked Phil Heath. My mother could peak Phil Heath. But it was always a draw to me. And at different points in my life, the thing that individual coach did best, was attractive to me. You know what I mean? At one point, it was a combination of being a better bodybuilder, but also really understanding the why and learning X's and O's of bodybuilding and health and all these things. So John Jewett was my guy. I wanted a really logical and calm presence because I am very up and down emotionally. I am a super passionate, emotional person. I put a lot into it. I have a conversation like this with someone like you where we're both excited about it and I'm way up here. And then an hour from now, I'll eat a meal, I'll go for a walk, and then I'll sit on the couch and I'm way down here. I'm very up and down, right? And contest prep is that way tenfold. So then John's calm presence was attractive to me at one point. I'm like, this is what I need. Chris Tuttle, same thing, very logical approach. Then I reached a certain point where I'm like, man, I haven't gotten much bigger in several years. And then, so that's when I turned to Justin Harris. Justin Harris has a career out of taking guys that were average, even below average looking. And then 2.5 years later, they're enormous on stage, enormous bodybuilder on stage. So I was like, all right, this guy knows something that other people are not doing. So I worked with him for a full year. And guess what? He got me way bigger and taught me stuff that I use that helps clients get way bigger. And then I reached a point where, okay, Justin Harris got me way bigger. No disrespect or knock on him, but really missed the mark in terms of conditioning, right? I'm the type of guy that write me the plan and I am going to follow it. If you tell me to eat 220 grams of dirt, I'm going to do it. So then when it misses by such a huge margin, it falls on you as a coach. Unfortunately, I'm a coach. I've been there. You swing and miss sometimes. So then, but I'm at this point. So now I'm newly big, let's say. So I'm like, okay, I still need to be bigger, but next time I go on stage, it can't look like this. And so enter Justin Compton. I'm like, man, this guy's entire page, side note, besides him being probably my all-time favorite bodybuilder and me coming up during his prime when he was the guy, he was the guy. So the fact that I could even get a response from him was like, from a fan side of things, surreal. To this day, every time I get a message from him and it pops up and it's Justin Compton, I'm like, what the fuck? Like, are you kidding me, dude? So I go to his page, and it's, a friend of mine had worked with him, Scott Mice had worked with him, and he looked exceptional. He looked bigger than I had ever seen him, and he was the most ripped guy at the same show that I shit the bed at. So I'm watching him backstage and all this stuff, and I'm like, who the fuck did you work with? And he's like, I worked with Justin Compton. And I'm like, really? Now I'm interested. So I took some time to unwind after that show. I didn't want to make an emotional decision. I really took a look through Compton's body of work, and he's not even good on social media, which will tell you how good he really is then.
Like, right? He says it himself. Like, he just doesn't even try through social media, but he sells himself through his body of work, the resume, like you're talking about.
Bro, I pulled up so many guys where I saw like under-muscled, over-fat off-season pictures of guys, and then they're this guy on stage. And I was like, Justin's the guy. He does not miss, dude. I can tell you from personal experience with myself and watching other people that he's picked up along the way while I've been with him, that guy just doesn't miss. We all miss. We all miss. You do this enough and with enough people, and you put enough people on stage, you're going to miss. There's times that stick in my brain that I know that I've missed. He doesn't miss. It doesn't matter if it's your first show with him, dude. You are going to look full. You are going to look hard, and you're going to have a crazy granite look that the other guys on stage don't have.
Yeah, I have the kind of I've not seen the pictures of that prep you're talking about, but with my
because I don't share them.
Yeah. I mean, obviously we're not going to like. That's how I feel about what I'm about to say too. Like, I almost want to delete these pictures, but I never would because it's a bookmark.
No, it's part of the process.
But that's how I feel about my last prep. Like, the conditioning was not there, the whole look was off, and like it lights a fire though going forward into this next show that we're going to do in 2026. Like, I know that the look we're going to bring is lights out in comparison, and that's exciting. So I'm sure you felt the same.
I'm excited for you. Yeah, no, I know where you are. I know exactly where you are. Yeah. And you didn't need to tell me that, like we talked about earlier, because I see it in the way that you execute. I see it. So I'm excited for you, man, because I can already see you are a way different bodybuilder even in the off season, which most of the time when you make big leaps, unless you're a super alien freak, right? For most of us, when you are making big size changes, it usually kind of comes at the cost of being comfortable with your off-season look. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but from the outside, you still have a really good look on top of being way bigger. You're way bigger now.
I feel it too. This week, so this morning, I think I was like 235 or something. I'm starting to feel the heaviness, which is, it's funny because you're probably at 290 pounds right now, right? So, but or something.
No, but it's relative, dude. Yeah. It's relative. Like the thing is, like the number on the scale is more of just like a bookmark, more so than an indicator. Like, you've probably been 235.
Yep, that's what I was getting at.
And felt fine. You feel uncomfortable at 235 right now because you're walking around more muscular than you've ever been.
Exactly.
So that muscle is way more uncomfortable to carry.
Yeah, but at the same time, though, while it is more comfortable to carry, you're a bit more comfortable with your appearance, like you were talking about, right?
Well, you like how you look, right?
Yeah.
I'm just talking about just living and breathing.
Yeah, but those 2 hours or whatever it ends up being in the gym, it's all worth it for that, man. Like today, dude. I almost wish I got
big
done
back
with
day today. Huh?
Yeah, I got done with my my last rep on my curls, and I was like, man, I wish I could just restart this whole workout.
yeah, that's how you know that you're. But to your point, like, it's like, man, you feel like you could run through a wall, but I'm going to be the mature athlete that because tomorrow's a rest day, I'm going to get ahead of it, and then guess what? The following day, man, I'm ready to get after it.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's why split design is so important. Like I was talking with a kid last week, he wanted to know what to do to set up a split. He only had 4 or 5 days to train. And I'm like, look, that's all you need. I see a lot of
That's all you
people.
need.
I see a lot of people your age training 6, 7 days a week, and even worse, I
Yeah.
see some people training literally the same workout day back to back, like push, push, push. They'll do push 3 times a week.
Oh
It's
man.
absurd.
I had that period. I had the 7 days a week period. I had push
Same
pull
here.
legs, and then Sunday's going to be off, but I'm going to go do arms. Like that's not an off day, dude.
Yeah, I remember back in high school, I would do. We would have high school. Actually, before that, on my lunch break for school, I would go and work out at my gym. Then we would go do weightlifting for football before. Then we would
Oh
do
yeah.
football practice. Then I would
Lucky
go
you
to.
never tore a pec,
I
dude.
know I've never had any injury, not even a minor one. And after
Yeah,
all of
that's
that,
awesome.
after football practice, I would go back to the gym, work out a little bit more, go to jujitsu practice, do some cardio before bed, and then go to sleep.
Man, you're lucky nobody snapped your shit up at jujitsu too.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Man, I
Crazy.
don't know how I was able to do all these things and like the 6 day a week training and stuff. I even think about doing that now and I want to vomit. It's not possible. So it's like we don't realize because at that time I felt like I was training hard. I felt like I was doing the most,
Oh yeah.
but I wasn't
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
shit looking back at it.
Yeah.
And I think the goal
Yeah,
is
you look
to,
back and then it's like, oh man, based on the pictures, I had like 8 months. I didn't get any bigger.
yeah, and
Fuck.
well, for me, it's hard because I always gained weight because I was always eating too
Yeah.
much. So it's like I got
Yeah,
bigger, but how much fatter did I get? Like, was
Yeah.
this 20 pounds clean? Probably not.
Probably not. But
Almost certainly not. But I think we went over everything with that. I have one question from Gabe Roach that kind of goes into this. Or Roca, sorry.
yeah.
He says, Joe, what have you learned about Anson that helps you coach him better mentally? And I think that is an interesting question because we don't often go into the mental side of coaching and bodybuilding. And I'm sure you have different cases where you have to treat different people different ways just because of how their mentality
100%.
is.
100% easy for you. Once I learned that you are one of these super passionate, over the top adherent bodybuilders, it's the passion reigns from what you do for work with the gym, your own training. You're a fan of bodybuilding. Like it's all bodybuilding all the time. That was an easy one for me because that's me.
Yeah.
So seeing it in you and it's okay, what's the background situation? You're married, you're a young man, you're trying to be a family man and make this relationship your main priority while also being the all-in bodybuilder 1000%, the best you could possibly be. So once I saw that, it was very quick to me. I'll say as a caveat, besides seeing all that as a personality trait, once we got the training fixed, then it was, I knew everything was full bore. And so for you, I realized that what you need psychologically from a coach is for someone to tell you, hey, it's okay to take the next 3 days off.
Yeah.
And I need you to take your woman out to dinner.
Yeah.
I know you don't want to eat off plan, but I need you to take your woman out to dinner.
Yep. And communication is super important there too, because the way you worded that to me told me,
Yeah.
okay, this is not the time to go get an unsalted steak and a plain potato. This is the time,
I
don't
need you to go eat like a regular person.
don't be an asshole about it, but a regular person about it. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. I need you to go out and make your woman feel like she is the center of your universe and that right now she is a bigger priority than bodybuilding.
Yeah. And I showed my wife that text, by the way, and she was like, I like him. So
That's good. Happy wife, man.
Yeah, so Miss Robbins is a huge fan, and that kind of caveats into another question that I got from a gym member. What advice would you give to someone who wants to maintain a healthy and fulfilling relationship while also pursuing bodybuilding? Because I think you're someone who's had experience on both sides of the coin, right? You've had really good, your current relationship is really awesome from the sounds of things, and it sounds like you've had some bad ones in the past. So how do you
very
navigate
bad ones?
that?
You have to identify in yourself first the level of passion, and I would also use the word obsession because that was mine. And I often use the word passion to cover up the fact that it was obsession. So you need to be self-aware in that, into what degree you are down that rabbit hole. Is this someone, can I ask like backstory? Is this someone like pursuing bodybuilding, or they just enjoy training? And
This is someone who's a bit closer to the powerlifting sides of things, but
okay,
I'd say they're kind of in between powerlifting and bodybuilding. Yeah.
so that's fine. Whatever the passion is, you need to carve out time, like we just talked about, that if this relationship and this woman is a priority, she needs to feel like it.
Exactly.
And it needs to be communicated. When it needs to be thoroughly communicated when it is her time to be the priority, and twice over, you need to over communicate when she is not going to be the priority. You need to explain why, and that this is temporary. And right now, I really need to do this like this, and it has to be like this. And this is why. And when it's over, we're going to X, Y, and Z so that I can show you that you are the priority. And I'm not just saying it, I'm showing you that you're the priority. So there is a way to do it, but it takes two to tango.
Yes.
By the same point, this guy cares so much that he's asking a podcast, how can I balance this, right? But on the flip side, it takes two to tango. She needs to be aware this guy really loves this and he really loves me, and he wants to be able to balance both. So she needs to have a level of understanding. And if she really loves you, part of that is loving everything that comes with you, the good and the bad. And so part of this person that she loves is this desire or obsession, whatever you want to call it, with your sport. So she needs to respect that.
Yes.
And so the right person will never make you feel guilty for following something that you are passionate about. You never, ever put down someone that you love for being passionate about something that's important to them. If anything, it should be important to her because it's important to you.
Yeah, and we say priorities there a few times, and what people got to understand too is just because they are not the number one priority in our life right at that moment does not mean that the love is any less. That's not the case.
Not at all.
It's just
not at all. It takes a mature person. It takes a mature person to communicate that. And on the flip side, it takes a very mature person to receive that.
Yes. Yeah.
But that's exactly right.
And relationships are kind of almost like individuals. It's like we have ourselves, the man and woman in this case, and we come together to almost form an entirely new person in a sense, because we have to act symbiotically, right? And that can go into your planning too. Like if, you know, I happened to do my first contest prep during my honeymoon and my wedding and stuff like that, but we knew that far out in advance. We planned for that, and we went to Florida, which is what she wanted to do for our honeymoon. Me being in a prep, I could have been a Scrooge about it and been like, I'm in contest prep. I don't want to sit in a car for 12 hours. I don't want to do that. But it was important for her to feel valued and appreciated. So it's like, all right, whatever you want to do, we're doing. And I'm like, I'm in a contest prep, so obviously I'm not going to eat a Cookie Monster Oreo ice cream cookie with you. But if you want
that sounds good.
Yeah, if you want one though, go crazy. I'll sit down and have a glass of water with you.
Yeah. And I think too, another thing, and this is maybe a little bit further down the line than like that initial young love or like when you're courting, but when you're established and in a really good relationship with the right person, relationships go in seasons.
Yes.
So, you know, this past year, Kelsey started contest prep December 1st of last year for a show that she did in May.
Wow.
Right? So we went on vacation. It was the same timing. We went on vacation. We came back. She started her contest prep. I started my off season.
Yeah.
So I'm eating like a pig. Like, you know, I'm eating tons of food. Yeah. I'm eating off plan once a week at that point. She's locked in. 20 weeks, no off-plan meals, no nothing, right? So for all that time, her contest prep, I understood this girl still loves me and I am still a priority. There's nothing outside of the relationship that she's interested in. However, this is important to her right now. And then, you know, we got her through that, and then you know, before hers even ended, my contest prep started. So we didn't even have this time, you know, in between to reflect and come back together, so to speak. We had her contest prep December through May. I started mine in March, and that went until the end of July. And then I treat the first 10 weeks after the show like a contest prep on its own. So then here we are, she started her contest prep December 1st of 2024. And then we're going out to dinner for the first time together, October of 2025. And we both just agreed. We communicated throughout and we both agreed, like, yes, it's not going to be puppy love and obsession with each other during this time. This is a season of life that we're going to go through and navigate together. And then, it's almost kind of like we will see you on the other side. Like we will reconnect and make each other the priority again. But right now, this other thing is really important.
Yeah, and I don't think that the entire, let's say you have a 20-week contest prep, the entire 20 weeks of that shouldn't be completely unmanageable. You're suffering miserable the whole time, right? At least not for most people. I find I've only done 2 so far, of course, so it's limited data. But I find each contest prep, I get a little bit better each time at kind of managing
100%.
everything. Like
your attitude, whether you show up for that person or not, even if you're not feeling it, you get better at that every single time. I feel the same way. I feel the exact same way. It took me many, many years to figure that out. You're way ahead of the curve with that. But absolutely, you should, when you're with the right person, they make it easier to get better.
Yeah, and one of my big goals for this contest prep is, so my first contest prep, I would say I started to kind of I don't want to say be an asshole, but just be a lesser version of myself around maybe the 8-week out mark. I think with the second show, it was maybe around about a month out, 4 weeks out or so. I'd like to get it down to 2 or none this next one, and just continually improve. And that's been one of the big triggers for why I'm treating this off season so seriously right now and not doing the cheat meals and really just trying to stay within the confines of a contest prep, basically, is because I feel like I can carry over that momentum into a contest prep and have my mood kind of stay the same and not be as volatile and have these emotional swings. And you're going to in a calorie deficit, right? But I think just being present and aware of that will help a lot.
Well, you're laying the legwork that this is contest prep.
Yep.
So by the time that you get to 8 weeks out, you've already done the work of 30 something plus weeks of contest prep like adherence. So this is nothing drastic or new. If we have to lower the food or up the cardio at 8 weeks out, this isn't some big wave of change. You've been on it for months and months on end. So yeah, it's a good approach and it's going to pay off for you, man. The work always pays off. Outworking people and being locked in longer than people always pays off. We used to say on the Thinking Man's podcast that I used to do with Tommy Styles, we had a saying that was outwork and outlast.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. I mean, yeah. I don't disagree with any of that. That's yeah. Let's see. Moving on to the next question here. I think this is interesting. Kind of shifted away from bodybuilding just for a moment. What achievement are you most proud of outside of bodybuilding, coaching, the fitness space entirely? What's something that you can look back on and be like, I'm proud of this?
Convincing Kelsey to get with me.
I assumed it was going to be something around relationships. Yeah, for me, that's mine too.
I shouldn't have said that. Sounds crude.
I know. I
mean, courting her and getting her to be interested in me for sure.
Taking the first step, kind of shooting your shot, that type of thing.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the relationship that we've built together is the thing that I'm most proud of and the thing that is most fulfilling. Now, if we're talking about myself or outside of my own competitive bodybuilding or achievement, I would say that there are 2 moments that I am most proud of when I try to reflect on things. In 2018, I was working a job that I had started to build quite a bit of momentum in my career. I have a degree in economics. And so I graduated college 2014 with my degree in economics. I got hired by Merrill Lynch before I even graduated. And so I had started to build that career up. By the time that I got to, it was about 2018. I was sick of it, man. I hated it. And I got the opportunity. I saw the lowest level, entry level job was available for Universal Nutrition, which is the mother company of the Animal Pack brand. Mm-hmm. And they don't have the same power that they had, back in the day. For me, I wore an Animal shirt every Monday to train legs in the gym for 10 years, right? Like Animal, like especially a lot of my gym identity was based around the branding of Animal. Mm-hmm. So, I'm from New Jersey. Luckily, that's where their headquarters are. And literally like the lowest of low entry-level job opened up. And I showed up for an interview there, full suit, briefcase, like coming with it. And the owner of the company, I did a couple different interviews, and then finally the owner of the company comes in and sits down and goes, "What's going on here?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "We cannot pay you what you want to be paid." And I had not even said anything. He just saw what my experience was. And I was like, "Look, I am done with this. I am you have no idea how passionate I am, not only about this lifestyle, but about this brand." I said, "I am willing to come in and earn my stripes." I said, and that's it. I don't need to talk a big game. Like, you see how I interviewed, you see what's on my resume, and I'm telling you that I'm committed to this. And he didn't nod yes or no, didn't really even say anything, and he just got up and walked out. So I'm just sitting there. I'm like, fuck.
That freaked me out in that situation.
Long story short, they come back in. They say, "Okay, you start Monday," or whatever. And I remember talking it over. I'm very close to my parents. I'm very close to my mother. I remember talking it over with my mother and like seeing this offer sheet that they sent me. And I'm like, this is the figure. Like, what do you think? And she was like, "Really? That's it? Like, you couldn't get him to even move a little bit off that?" I'm like, this is it. This is it. This is the only chance I'm going to get at it. And she was like, "Well, then you better take it." And so I quit everything that I had built up on the other side and took that job. And it was one of the best things that ever happened to me. It set me up for everything else. So long story short, my two proudest moments: leaving the corporate world to take a shot and take the low-level job with Animal. And then, ironically enough, my second thing that I'm most proud of is quitting from that same company to take coaching full-time and take a shot on myself. I kind of left finance to bet on the job with Animal. Mm-hmm. And then eventually I left Animal to bet on me. And it was the best thing that I ever did.
Betting on yourself always pays off in some form or fashion, I find it. And it's funny because you actually answered one of the other questions I had written down, which were it was business related, which was what are some of the biggest leaps you've taken for yourself, for your business, and you hit all of them on the head there, I think.
That's it. There to add to that though, I mean, so I took that leap to go to Animal, and it opened up my connection with Chris Tuttle, Evan Centopani, Frank McGrath, Brian Moss, John Jewett, all of these guys then that eventually were influential on me in some other way. Mm-hmm. So then when I quit the job at Animal, it wasn't just me quitting, it was me quitting. And then I packed up my life and moved to Texas so that I could train in the same gym as John. Mm-hmm. At that point, he's my coach. I told him, "Man, I just want to come out and I want to be around people that are elite at what they do." And that gym, there's a Muscle Factory gym in San Antonio. It's loaded. It's a private gym loaded with pros, loaded with people that are chasing it. And I said, "You know what? I got nothing else going for me. I can pay my bills from coaching, and I'm going for it, dude. I'm moving out there." So I moved out there. Occasionally we would train together, but it was more so just about being in the gym at the same time. And, he came to me after a couple of months and was like, "Hey, I'm thinking about opening up this coaching branch of J3U, and I have a contract for you. I want you to be the first one." And so it's, that move to like, had I just continued to be a remote client and had I not moved my life to Texas, I'm not sure that if he's not there seeing me every day if that opportunity arises for me. So,
Yeah.
just again, just the theme of just taking a calculated risk on yourself.
Yes. Yeah, and have you ever been in it? Because saying you live from New Jersey and then moved to Texas, and now you're in Florida. Have you ever been in
Yeah.
an area that like was kind of isolated from bodybuilding, or have you always been around it in some?
That was New Jersey for me. My whole
Really?
experience in New Jersey, it just started so I moved back to New Jersey, and then this was now the time that some of these like designer gyms had started to open, and that younger demographic was blowing up the gym scene.
Hmm.
But really until I moved back, so anything prior, the 10 years prior from 2011 to let's say 2021, that's what I'm talking about. I felt completely isolated and alone. I'm from a very small little town out in the
Okay.
woods, and there were no bodybuilders. I trained in a mom and pop gym. It was called Ultimate Fitness. It was on the second floor of like a woodworking shop, and there was maybe 100 members at any, total. And so there was no competitive bodybuilding scene. It was just viewed as bizarre, like just viewed as bizarre. Like I said, lost touch with a lot of friends because they didn't understand it. Um, and so that was New Jersey for me. And then I had to move north for the animal job, and that was a little different then because I worked with meatheads with other guys, right? And like there were more bodybuilding or like serious gyms up in that area. It's more of like a high traffic city type area of New Jersey. So that was better. But for the most part, like my hometown, it was a completely isolated thing that I just was taking pictures off the internet and articles out of the magazines and trying to make bodybuilding out of it.
Yeah, because that's how it feels in my situation. Like I'm the
Yeah.
only NPC level competitor that I know of. The only other people that even have competed at my gym is a retired. I think she did a retired figure pro, and I think there's maybe one guy who competed like once, but it was like probably men's physique
Okay.
or something. So
Okay.
we're kind of isolated in my area. So like I'll have these thoughts, and of course because of the gym being attached here, I can't really move, nor would I want to. But I wonder what it would be like to be in this hub of bodybuilding. One of these places like Florida, Texas, Vegas, these little hubs. I wonder what the experience is there versus an isolated area.
I can only speak from experience. I didn't have a great experience in Texas. The gym and the environment and all of that was great. I was going through a lot of personal stuff at the time, so my mental frame was not a positive one. And, at the same time, I have all the pressure of like quitting my job and, trying to figure it out. I have no friends and no family in this area, in this part of the world. And you know what? Yes, Texas was much warmer than New Jersey. And that was kind of I started to just hate the winters, right? But also, it's not, it felt pretty desolate and dry. So then I moved home. I moved back to Florida. I live in Florida now, and it's palm trees and sunshine, and I feel like I'm on vacation every day.
Okay.
So this is the first time that I've ever felt like, man, I'm right where I'm supposed to be.
That's awesome. I think if everybody can find that, that's the goal, right? Like you can have, because Texas would be rough, right? Because you're kind of isolated. You're in the middle of the country, not necessarily. Yeah, I think Florida's a great spot. A lot of people will talk about Texas or stuff like that, or Ohio. That's another one that comes up. But I think Florida's starting to get a nice little crop of bodybuilders. That Tampa Pros is more popular too.
Dude, there's tons of bodybuilders down here, and there's tons of good gyms, and I think there's a little bit of a flavor for everyone, depending on what your scene is. There's, if you like to feel like somebody and you like to be around big name people and you like to be seen, MI40 Gym is the place for you, right? Everyone in the world knows MI40 Gym.
Yeah.
Even on the other side of the bridge, like over into the St. Pete side, across from Tampa, Derek Lunsford just opened up a gym that has a very similar feel to it. Incredible equipment. It's clean and beautiful, and it almost feels like a hotel lobby. It's an incredible gym. There's going to be tons of influencers and competitive bodybuilders, pros. Mr. Olympia himself trains there. Yep. So if that's what you're into and you want to feel like part of something, there are those gyms for you. For me, the gym that I train in is a little bit more low key, and it feels like home. For the first time ever, I am part of a gym that I feel like I'm home. And it's this private gym. It's owned by a couple that are around my age, Alvin and Linda. They're just incredible people. He does everything under the sun to try to upgrade the equipment. He goes out of his way. He's traveling cross country, hand selecting pieces. That's not tons of equipment. Like MI40, Derek's gym, hundreds of pieces, 5 of everything, right? My gym, Counterculture Gym, is not that way. There's 1 or 2 of everything, but every single one of them is a home run.
Yeah.
Like his shooting percentage is 98%. And every now and again, he'll bring something in. Like he brought in flex leverage dip press or something. And like a couple of us liked it. A couple of us said otherwise or whatever. And then one day you come in and it's like, that's gone. And now the flex leverage incline's in there. And it's like, holy fuck, I've never even seen this. Like, it's loaded with old school stuff, new school stuff. It's so obvious that someone that really knows training and cares about having good equipment hand selects the stuff. And so it's just this kind of tight-knit little environment. It's all people that are serious. Like I said, it's a private gym. So you're not just showing up out of nowhere to train here. Yeah. It's full of like competitive bodybuilders and powerlifters alike. And we're all kind of on the same level. I've been in gyms where that had both, and it felt like maybe the bodybuilders were one team and the powerlifters were part of another team, and people are looking across the gym at each other funny. Yeah. It is not like that at all. It sounds like the cliche corporate thing to say, but it feels like a tight-knit little family.
That's exactly the type of environment I'm trying to set up at my gym. And we don't necessarily have a lot of the higher end pieces like, Strive Prime, Arsenal, stuff like that. We mostly like hammer strength, kind of old school equipment, just because that's when it was built. It was built back in like 2011. So that's when the owner, the first owner at least, kind of hand selected everything and put it together. But we're definitely way heavier on the powerlifting side than we are bodybuilding. Like I said, I think I'm the only competitor at the gym that I'm aware of, at least. However, we got like probably 10, 15 different powerlifters.
Okay, right on.
And like I'm right there with those guys, like in terms of our intensity. We kind of match.
Yeah, those boys train, man. Those guys and gals fucking. I was just talking about it with the bros on my podcast, man. Those guys are insane. Man. I would never want to do that, bro. You got to be a special type of crazy.
Kid's younger than me. I think I want to say 22, maybe 21. Squatting every bit of 650, pulling probably low 6, benching probably mid 3s or so.
Bro, putting that across your back and dropping to the floor and standing back up with it is crazy.
I know. And not that the drugs do the work or anything, but the kid's 100% natural. And I see a lot of that.
I mean, the drugs help. Holy fuck. Yeah, natural is to be natural. Like just knowing what it does, if nothing else, knowing what the drugs can do for your recovery and the amount of beating that they are taking, the amount of physical beating that their bodies take, and then to do it natural is like playing on expert mode, bro. Like that's some crazy shit.
Yeah,
I respect it, man. I respect it. From my time at Animal, I was, front row at the cage for a lot of some of the craziest shit that is burned into my brain that I will never forget, dude.
What's his face? Something Green. What's his first name?
Dan Green.
Dan Green. Yeah. Oh my God, that motherfucker's an animal. Literally,
one of my favorite guys, dude. One of the nicest, most soft-spoken people. His wife is fantastic. His whole family is like so nice, dude. Like one of the nicest people ever, and then he just flips a switch and turns into a psychotic cave person that
psycho killer mode.
Yes. He's man, he's one of my favorite guys too, because he's just very soft spoken, and he is a guy that I feel like it's a more of a common approach now, but I feel like he kind of set the mold for the power lifter that looks like an off-season bodybuilder.
Yes. Yeah. And I'm starting to see that trend kind of come back, or at least.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
It's that's the idea now. Like, you want to be efficient with the weight that you hold.
Yeah.
He was so ahead of the curve, bro. He was so ahead of the curve.
Yeah, him and I'm not sure how what Pete Rubish looked like, but that's another one that I can remember from that kind of
same
era.
guy.
Yeah,
same deal, dude. I was shoulder to shoulder with all these guys at the animal cage, dude. Pete was awesome. Pete's funny as hell in person, dude. He's got it's such a funny back and forth because he truly has a different level of psycho within him when it's time to lift. You ever see any of the old videos of him in his parents' garage and shit?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. But then, like, when it's not his time to lift and it's like we're just hanging out at the booth, whatever the case is, talking shit, we're talking about football, whatever, just the nicest guy.
Yeah. Yeah. And I find that a lot of the times that's how it is. The biggest, strongest, most powerful people are usually the most laid back and chill. Like, I have a saying whenever I see someone leave some weights on a bar at my gym. It's like, it's never the strong people doing this. It's always the motherfucker with one plate, 2 plates. Yeah. So, but yeah, I think we covered a whole lot, and I think we're about an hour and a half here. I don't want to take too much of your time, and I'm sure both of us got to eat here shortly. Real deal bodybuilding, eating every 2.5 hours, right? But
that's right, man. It was great coming on, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and I just want to thank you for coming on. This was awesome. I know just the relationship stuff alone is going to be super valuable for people to hear. And
good. I hope so.
Yeah, I think we covered a lot of stuff that I've not, some stuff that I've heard you talk about before, and some stuff I've not heard you talk about before. So I think it's a good mix, and I appreciate you coming on.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate you having me on. I appreciate you setting this up and coordinating it. And man, I love what you're doing. I want to encourage you to just keep doing what you're doing. Not that I'm anything special, but I just have been doing this a little bit longer. And so my advice to you is to just keep doing it, man. I get the comment so often. The 2 most recurring comments, I should say, that I get about putting out videos is that people can feel my passion just from watching the videos, and that they love the honesty. Yes. They can tell how honest I am. And so I would just encourage you to do the same, because I feel that same level of passion from you. It radiates off of you.
I appreciate that.
So it will resonate with the right people. So whether you put out a video and it only gets 42 views, it was 42 people that you want watching your video.
Yes, and I'll kind of like give the audience a glimpse into my mind here. When I see 40 views on a video, I don't care if it's 40 views. I care, okay, this is 40 views, but I've got like close to 100% watch time on this. It's 40 people that this is resonating with. Like, overall, this isn't a super large space, bodybuilding, right? Like, we're not going to get 3 million views on a video unless, just the stars align. For the most part, we're kind of on the lower end of what's popular, but it's just about, the people that you are reaching. I think we can make an impact. And your first podcast with Tommy, the Thinking Man's podcast, and then your new podcast now, the One More Rep podcast. Those 2 are why I started doing this. Watching those 2 podcasts, how you guys went about making it, the realness, the rawness with it. It was like, maybe I can do this. Maybe if it's even just because at the beginning it was just me talking to myself, maybe I can just spit some of my thoughts out into the world, put it out there, people want to hear it, and then that evolved into what it is now. And you guys inspired that, and I just
that's awesome, man. Keep doing it, bro, because you're right, man. It's and like I said, I'm nothing special. My channel doesn't have 400,000 subs, right? Like it was a milestone for me. I just hit 1,000 subs, right? And you see the numbers that other big time podcasts or YouTube channels do, and it's like, this is nothing compared to that. But I will tell you, like you said, because it might be 40 now, but eventually then it's going to be 200, and then it'll be 400, and you just keep building it. But the thing is, regardless of the number, the substance is what has the audience coming back. It's a loyal audience.
Yes.
Like, the amount of people that leave comments, send me private messages, and they're like, bro, I just found the channel. I've been watching videos for 3 days straight while I'm at work. The amount of people that I go to shows and I'm out in the middle, dude, I was out up in Canada for a client and I have people stopping me in the gym. Yo, Joe Pircher, what are you doing here? Well, the One More Rep podcast. I watch it every day. And it's like, man, this is wild stuff. You have no idea what it's doing for other people. And I still don't. I don't want to sound like I think that it's like I'm some celebrity or something, but you have no idea the value that it brings to other people. So like I said, I just want to encourage you to do it because you have a lot to add.
I appreciate that. And I think too, it's not always just about the size of the channel or anything. Your particular audience is super reactive and active. And like, for example, with the BT, is it Beyond a Stage, the nomination?
Yes.
Second podcast of the year. And you said you started it back in January, right? So it's less than a year old. And being in the conversation for that is crazy. It just shows you how much people are connecting. Regardless of
it was kind of wild.
Yeah.
That was pretty wild. That was I still felt like almost a level of imposter syndrome. I'm like, why are we on this list? This is not right. You know what I mean? Like there are other podcasts that I listen to that needs to be up on this list. And then it's like, this big post where it's like the One More Rep podcast is second only to the Bro Chat podcast that everyone in bodybuilding watches. And it's like, man, okay, you know what? There are other podcasts that get way more views for sure. But if nothing else, I think this tells me that we're on the right track, that we're doing something right. So, I would just encourage you to keep doing the same, man, because you know what, if nothing else, you are passionate about this. You enjoy it. Like, and you know what, you get people on here that you enjoy talking with and that resonates to other people. People can feel, just trust me, I've done it. I've had people on just because I thought it might be good for the channel or if so-and-so asked about this person. And then you get them on and it's like pulling teeth. And it's like, man, this isn't what I wanted to put out to people. I want to be excited about this so that other people are excited about it. So you just keep doing that. You keep doing the shit that you're excited about and it will hit home with the right people.
Yeah, and when you're doing what you love, it's not work. It's fun. Like my system here says we've been recording for like an hour and a half, and man, it flew by.
Yeah, would have never even known if I didn't have to eat.
Yeah, like it's almost time to eat, and it's like, man, I kind of teleported to my next meal, which as someone with a high appetite, that's always nice to do. So
that's it. That's exactly right.
But if you guys made it to the end of this, please leave a last 5-minute crew comment. I always appreciate when you guys do that. And this has been another episode of the Iron Obsession podcast. Thank you guys so much for watching.